Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Stylish Leadership. Matthew Simmons here. Caleb Cloyd here. Going to talk to you about how does a leader respond to tragedy and adversity. Stay tuned. All right. Welcome again. Welcome back. Talking about leadership. How do leaders respond to adversity in their own lives, and then how do they respond to the negative news and press and tragedies that are going on around them? This is very important because we've talked about in the last video we talked about Joel Osteen's book You Can, You Will. He talks about always staying in a positive mindset. That does not mean that you put your head in the sand and you're not aware of the current events. We just recently had a very tragic shooting in Florida, a school shooting. It's very horrible. And then not that long ago, a few months ago, we had a church shooting in San Antonio area.
Yeah.
That's another tragedy.
Yeah.
You definitely want to have an empathy for what they're going through. You definitely want to take action and respond in a compassionate way that gives them hope and gives them, offers them healing and all that. But at the same time, you don't want to drag yourself down with a negative feelings about it, because those are, since they're so horrible events, then you feel the pain, but it's easy to bog yourself down with the gloom and despair of it.
Yeah.
As a leader, you want to rise above that and not have that happen. But then there's going to be things in your life that are going to happen that aren't going to be so hunky-dory as well. It's not going to be so life is just, peaches and cream all the time and hunky-dory. You're going to have flat tires. You're going to have, troubles in your marriage. You're going to have troubles in your finances. You're going to have trouble in your body. You're going to have trouble around you. The weather's going to be bad, and it's going to wreak havoc sometimes. You're going to have natural disasters. You're going to have natural tragedies. You're going to have all these kind of stresses going on. How, as a leader, do you respond to it and still be compassionate, still be relevant, but don't let it bog you down? I think a big thing is you got to keep a positive mindset to where you have to understand, I can't control the situation, so I'm not going to constantly worry about it. I'm going to let the people who can control it.
Yeah.
I'm going to pray. I'm going to donate time and resources to it if I can, but I'm going to move on and live my life. So I'm not going to, for instance, I can't personally, by me worrying about the events in Florida and the tragedy and when the hurricanes happen, I couldn't physically change it by me worrying about it. I could only do so much by me giving income, by me maybe volunteering time. I could do a little bit there, but I couldn't totally change it. That's for somebody else to be in control of that situation. So why should I worry my health over it and worry about it happening in my neck of the woods? How about I just control what I can control? And I think that as a leader, you have to understand, focus on what you can control, and then let the other people control what they can control, and it keeps you sane, really.
Yeah. That's so good. Great introduction.
I want to make sure that we're not being perceived as these heartless guys. It's not the case, but just don't dwell on it.
Yeah. So that's not the memo we're trying to put out. Is we're not necessarily caring too much about it. That's not where we're trying to get at. Where we are addressing, what does a leader do and respond to certain situations like this? And there's a lot of things that people can do that can help. Like you're saying, donating and trying to find a way to impact. And it's something that we need to be thoughtful about. Definitely need to be thoughtful about. When it came to Valentine's Day, my heart was actually on the shooting. Versus it being Valentine's Day, because I just saw that, and I put a post about it. I put 17 people died in the shooting, and I got a response from a friend of mine that expressed her gratitude expressed her not gratitude, sorrow, and knowing that you care, and a leader is somebody, and especially responding to a situation like that, you need to be uplifting and finding solutions. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I noticed it that a lot of you look at the responses from people, and it's a horrible thing. But any natural disaster in particular, or natural tragedy, you look at it on a broader scale, you see people complaining. They automatically will blame somebody. They look for blame, and then if something happens in their life, they look for someone to blame. They look to complain. They'll either blame the president, they'll blame God, they'll blame the circumstances around them, but they won't take ownership, or maybe they they don't take ownership for how their attitude is going to continue to affect them personally.
Yeah, that's so true.
And you got to understand that. So the thing that you don't ever want to do is you never want to blame somebody else for something that either you did, or you don't want to blame somebody else for how you're responding to it. They didn't make you respond to it. You chose to respond that way. So you don't want to, in a situation like that, come out and blame somebody just for the fact of complaining and blaming. You say, cite a problem, cite a solution, cite a plan to execute the solution to your problem. And some of it's easier said than done.
Right.
But that's what leaders do. They find solutions to problems instead of complain about the problem and expect that to be the solution. Yeah,
it's kind of the, there's a saying when I was in, school, way back then, there was a little memo that kind of went around that if one person did something, all those other people are just as guilty, and we blame others, right? And with some of these events and stuff like that happen in shootings and stuff like that, we tend to look at why come this person didn't do that? This person didn't do this. Why came this person ain't saying this? And we don't look at the main issue, and so we let that cloud our judgment. But going back to responding in the time of a tragedy like that, not many people can be positive and not put forth great plans and great solutions. And we, like you were saying, we tend to point fingers and stuff like that, and that doesn't solve problems. Complaining and being emotional. Well, if this group of people would have did this, if this person was this, if the law was this and this will never happen. And we let our emotions actually get in front of us, like we talked about before on some of our previous videos, letting our emotions get the best of us in situations like this. Leaders should have really good binoculars to actually see what needs to be done instead of it's your fault.
Yeah, you can't make a rational decision based on an emotional response. It just doesn't work that way, because if you make an emotional decision, then eventually those emotions are going to change, and you could end up saying, well, I actually regret the decision I made, because in the heat of that moment, in those emotions, that was the right decision to make, but now my emotions have changed. Now all of a sudden that's not the right decision to make.
Right.
And you end up with do or say something that you'll regret later. And I think that is a lot of people. This is what separates mature leaders from people who want to be leaders, is they understand when to not speak, when to speak, and how to speak.
Yeah.
And that's critical. And you just don't make a rational decision based on emotion, because you don't have a temporary response for a permanent solution.
That's good. And another thing I just encourage people is this, work on their character. Not many people, well, let me say this, people will say they're loving, people say they're, like we were saying earlier, people say they're loving, people say they're kind, and I'm a person that looks after others. If we're not putting forth the actions, as a leader needs to do, then you get put back in that same spot to where talk but no action. And so when I talk about character, what I mean is our morality.
It's huge.
It's huge for us and also in other individuals. Are you making a daily commitment as a leader to love people better, to work harder at certain things that need to be done, working on being a leader, working on cultivating friendships with people? Are you constantly improving to reach out to help people, whether it be the poor or whatever it is, and start laying those little bitty groundworks, and public speaking is a great way, and I'm so glad me and you we got into public speaking, and I've spoken at schools, and I've just knocked on the door and say, hey, I have a message for your kids that they need to hear. And being a leader, sometimes being a leader may not look like what people may envision it, but that's the beauty of everybody's unique giftness is in their leadership. And in this particular situation, with the shooting and everything is, well, for what I've seen, there's a lot of emotional, like you were saying earlier, there's a lot of emotional responses, and you can, of course, you can understand that because of what happened and stuff. But I didn't really see any really too much solutions and plan oriented ideas as far as what they could do to impact or influence. And and like I said, work on yourself, work on your character, work on being a leader, stand out.
Yeah, it's like I saw a bunch of, then it gets to the ad hominem stuff. And what a leader really does, and we'll talk about this in our next video that we'll do here, you walk with strength, integrity, and boldness. And if you want to know what that is, stay tuned, because we're going to talk about it. SimsEssentials.com, go check there, and you'll see archived episodes of this show. You'll go see archived episodes of my tie knot tutorials, blog posts, and other merchandise coming your way. And also keep up with Caleb Cloyd. Keep up with me, because we got entrepreneurial things we're doing. I got a meetup group that we got.
Yeah, so, stay tuned. I'm working on my website, so I'll be having my website up pretty soon. So,
Yes, sir. So,
awesome.
We'll see you in the next episode. Own your own style, my friends. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. Reach out to us personally if you have any questions.
Yeah. Feel free to talk us. Feel free to contact us, guys. So we're here to help you out. So take care.
Peace.